this time of year, with Christmas almost upon us, I'm sure you've got 1,000,001 things to think about. I know I do. Perhaps wine is last on your list, let alone worrying about how to match wines with your Christmas lunch or that all-important cheese board. Now, I'm joined now by Gerard Basset, who is a top sommelier, and he's going to talk us through what we could be drinking with our Christmas lunch this year. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us, Gerard. That's really nice to have you here. Obviously, champagne is a must at Christmas.
Yeah, I think I would say, to start, it's a special day. You want to really start with something, festive. So champagne, yes, definitely.
And what time is it okay to have champagne on Christmas Day?
Anytime, really. Actually, it's quite nice. You prepare breakfast, you open a bottle of champagne. You don't have to have a lot, but just a little glass, and you can put orange juice. But I think it's better to put it just straight, natural. Good champagne, wonderful.
So, what do you look for in a good champagne?
Well, in good champagne, you want something maybe who has a bit of character, so slightly bready on the nose, slightly, so just show a little bit of maturity, and on the palate, quite creamy.
Yeah, that's not too sharp, is it? It's nice and creamy, as you said. So we're moving on then. I suppose a lot of people have smoked salmon for starter. Yes. What would you drink with the smoked salmon?
You can drink many types. I think what you want is a fresh, crisp, dry wine. So if you don't want it too perfume, too aromatic, then maybe go with something like a Chablis. You could go. But here we got a Riesling. So what the Riesling we'll have from Alsace.
Okay.
So here you have dry, but a lot of flavor, quite, you get slightly floral, slightly limey, you get all this, a lot of fruit, like, say, stony fruit, quite perfume, and also sometimes you get a slightly white truffle when it's a bit more evolved.
Yeah, because that's the great thing with Christmas, isn't it? You can have a bottle per course. And everybody gets to try a different wine with a different course, mixing up the wines a little bit.
Exactly, because normally you're family or guest or friend, suddenly you are at least 6, 8, maybe more.
Yeah. So a good white, good Riesling to start. What about for main then? What do we move on to? Do we keep it white, or do we then move on to a red?
No,
or do we keep the red for dessert maybe?
No, I would go for a red with the main course. So you can do, for Christmas, obviously the turkey, but you could have some, you can have a roast beef, you could have also maybe a duck, goose, you want something with a bit of flavor and power.
Okay.
And I think there...
So what have you got for us here?
Here I've got a wonderful Bordeaux. So, smell it.
Smells of Christmas.
Smell of cedar box, tobacco, cigar. Also a lot of fruit, of course, quite a lot of black fruit. And then now...
You taste it.
I think quite a powerful wine. You can feel the tannin, they are ripe. So obviously a wine, you need food. You need food because it's going to cut through. So if you're having beef, you're having turkey, excellent wine.
So this is a really lovely red. Would you carry this through to mince pies and, say, Christmas pudding?
No, I think with mince pies and Christmas pudding, you would want really a dessert wine. And France produces some lovely dessert wine. So you could go, for instance, for wine like, say, Saucignac, Sauternes, Barsac, maybe a Jurançon, of course, from the Loire. You could have wonderful Vouvray, sweet Vouvray. You could have some Coteaux du Layon. I mean, just wonderful wine. And for the cheese, then, you could stay with a red wine, but I prefer to move maybe something like a Maury, which is a red fortified wine from the Roussillon. That would be also, or even some of the sweet wine I mentioned could go with the cheese, definitely, especially if you have a blue cheese, for instance. So.
It's just like a journey, isn't it? So we go from the champagne to the white to the red, then moving on to the cheese. It is a Christmas journey.
Ready to sleep in front of a TV.
Yeah. Just in general, are there any French wines that stand out that you could enjoy over Christmas?
Oh, there are plenty. I mean, for instance, if you wanted to go for to start with a white wine, something a bit special, then you could go for a Chablis Grand Cru. You could move maybe something like a white Hermitage, or even a white Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which is a bit unusual because they don't produce many. And yes, for the red wine, then maybe a Côte Rôtie, maybe a Gevrey-Chambertin, maybe a top Bordeaux from Pauillac, Saint-Julien. So the list is endless, really. Endless list of brilliant French wines. Thank you so much for joining me today, Gerard. You've really cleared up my Christmas wine woes. Thank you. Cheers. Santé.